Hello, everyone. Today's the red day, but before we actually start talking about the red camera, I want to talk about tomorrow's shoot. For those of you who can come, David Butterfield is the writer-director, and Sarah Smith, an amazing actress, is starring in the film. It will be shot in a few different locations. We're starting at 9 a.m. At what's the name of the it's a store in San Martin. What? Roca's. Rocco's, yeah. I think it's a grocery store, correct? We filmed a scene for Trevor Rock's film in there, and they brought out sausage to us because I guess they make all their own original sausage, and the stuff, it was amazing. It was really good. But we're gonna shoot outside. We're gonna use the storefront. I'm really nervous about this because rain, yeah, and they don't even open until 10. So if we get there at 9 and it's raining, well, I'm gonna set up a kind of a canopy, and I'll have some umbrellas, but we're gonna have to worry. None of the equipment can get wet, so we're gonna have to deal with that. It's 3 different times too. It's once when she does a dance routine as a homeless person, and then she gets a job and we see her sweeping and cleaning windows. Sweeping will be difficult if it's raining. I don't even know if that'll work. And then there's a one where she comes out of the store and she's now the manager. So she's gonna have to change and each time she'll be in different clothes. But it's all out front. None of it's in the store. And I'm worried about rain. So the weather is going to be an issue. It's also right there on Monterey Street. So the storefront is right in front. So this is it'll be a tricky shoot. When we're done, and it's supposed to be like a year later, she's going to go from being hired to being the manager. And it can't all be raining. So we might need to have some of it be rain and some of it be wait for a little bit of sun or whatever. I don't know. But after we're done shooting that location, we're coming to the college, and there are 2 exterior shots. There's 2 bench scenes, same bench, and if it's raining, we have a spot where it's covered. We're shooting MOS. The entire film is silent, so we don't have to worry about audio or sound. So I think we're going to use. There's a bench that has a cover above it, close to the biology building, and so we're going to film there. There's a couple scenes where she's sitting below a tree, and if it's raining for that, we might have to get out the canopy and deal with that as well. I think we're going to do that up on the path. Remember last week we shot your film at that bench. You remember how Sierra came walking down that path? No, Sierra, it was Zoe. We're going to film up kind of where Zoe started. So that it'll be there. And then we're going to film the theater. There's a big whole dance thing. I need some volunteers to play musicians. Essentially you're extras, but you're faking playing. I think we're gonna try to have an upright bass. We're gonna have a piano. We're gonna have a saxophone and maybe some other instruments as well. And we need people who will be players on stage. And that means you have to come kind of dressed correctly. And so be ready. Can you all just be, if David gives you the tap, you're going to be suddenly, a jazz sax player or pianist or whatever? It's supposed to be, I think, like the 1930s, and your musician's on stage, she's dancing, and you're so nothing with writing, no shirts with writing on it, no modern tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Just things, and we're gonna have you far enough back that you will not be highlighted that much, but you can't. I probably couldn't even wear when I'm wearing jeans and stuff. So if I have to be one of them, I'm gonna bring alternative clothes. But yes, great. Would love to have you. That maybe the bass player.
You said 1930s.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's specified anywhere in the script. It's supposed to be, I think, somewhat modern day, but nothing, everything is kind of, she's dancing with a top hat, coattails, like
It's
nylons.
Like Incredibles or like Baby Driver, where you don't know if it's modern or
Yeah.
just it's that in between.
And this is a look back. I mean, if she's doing tap dance with coat and tails and a cane, it's supposed to be not 2024. So semi-formal with not period or anything. It just and it just kind of looked like a musician. Not necessarily, but yeah. So anyways, and David will pick, and if you want to do it and want to be in it, absolutely. So anyways, that will be in the theater, and we'll end our day in that. So I reserved the theater from 4 to 8, and there's no way we're going to 8, but
It's looking like it's gonna be raining.
yeah, I know.
It's like 89% chance.
Yeah, I don't know if it's whole day long, but it'll be a lot of it. And yes, Amy, that's tomorrow. It's what is the title of his film?
So if we can come for like part of it, like from 9 to 12 or something.
Yeah.
I may not be able to be here the whole day, but
Yeah, anything that you can come, that would be great. It's Silent Charm is the title. And the screenplay should be on the class. I'll double check and make sure it is there, but it's called Silent Charm, and it's David Butterfield. I'll tell you the story unless have I already said this too many? It's a homeless woman. It opens on her. She's trying to find any food that she has a bag. She keeps a lot of things in a bag. She pulls out and a little tiny piece of food, and she's excited about it. But she's very hungry. So she goes walking through a park, and she sees this guy very formally dressed. He's in a suit. He's well put together, has a briefcase, and he's eating sushi. And it's on the bench beside him. She comes and sits down on the opposite side of the bench, and she can't stop staring at this food, which he's kind of ignoring, and she's so hungry, and he finds it very kind of off-putting, and it gives her a dirty look and packs up and walks away. And then she goes and she goes to a storefront and she dances, and she puts out a hat trying to hope that people will give some money tips. And in fact, some of us need to be passersby, extras who are walking, and a couple, I think, stop it and watch her dance and then tip her, and it's a $5 bill. And so then she goes back to her tree, and we see her eating the food. And then I think she goes to the store again, and she's dancing, and the manager comes out and gives her a job. And so then there's some shots of her cleaning the window and sweeping the front of the store. And then later, we see her come out of the store, and she's wearing a name tag that says manager. She's dressed very more formally. And then she's goes to her park bench, and there's the man who was rude to her initially, and now he's homeless. And it's her reaction to him that ends the film. So that's Silent Charm. Yeah. And he is not. So, that's tomorrow's film. Anyone have any questions on that? Okay, David's a very cool director, very kind of easygoing guy, extremely successful. He's made so many films that have won. I swear, he's won.
Oh, he's lost count over 100.
Oh, it's way over 100.
Yeah.
It's over 200 awards at film festivals. So, he's been taking these classes for years, and every year he will shoot something, and that way we can work with him. Anyways, let's work on the red. So those of you who are here, you need to come up, and we're gonna do this and talk about it together. Not a class for you to sit. Probably a little still too low.
Yeah.
Grant, I had a question.
Yeah.
So when you say someone's taken the class multiple times, how does that work? Is there a lot of repeat students, or is it like alumni that come back and do projects, or are they actually retaking the course? Like
The kind
for
of
unit?
combination of both of those things. So, David is kind of a unique, has a unique situation. He had a son, and he helped him take the class, all of the classes. And once he was done, he'd done the class a few times with his son. He fell in love with filmmaking, and he decided that he was going to take all the classes and get credit. So, but it's when I say all the classes, it's not only introduction to cinema, motion picture production, and introduction to audio, which are the three that we have linked together. But he took the acting class, he took the editing class, he took, all of the humanities classes, the film appreciation classes. So he's been my student so many times, I can't even count. Screenwriting and the single camera production, the television production classes. And so that's what I mean, is that he's taken every single class. He has taken everything. His son has taken everything. So at this point, he's basically alumni. And if I don't get the stories, all the shoots picked, assigned, or scheduled the first week, I have alumni like David who are ready with a screenplay in hand, and he jumps in, so that we don't have any weeks where we don't have projects. I think it's better to shoot something every week than to just every project's going to be different. We're going to be having a giant spotlight, and that's different. We're shooting on stage, we're shooting outside, we're shooting in front of a storefront. There's just so many different things from this project, different than everything else that we've done so far this semester, and we will do this semester. So the more variety, the more things we shoot, the better for everyone in the class. So did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Okay, sure. All right, so here we go, the red camera. First, this is, we call the tripod sticks on set, remember? And you can't see this at home, I'm not sure, but there's a bubble here, and all of you, unless you've done this so many times, and maybe Jason and Marty are the only ones who have, you should be watching. But I don't know, can you see that? Yep. There's a bubble here that tells you whether the tripod head is level. So I just brought it up. The ground is pretty level, so that's good, except that I can bring each leg up individually. And so you can probably see that this is very out of level now. And so I get it kind of close, and then I look at the bubble, and it's off. So you can loosen the tripod head underneath, and then you can see that it can rotate. So I hold the tripod head, get it level, and then tighten it. Now the tripod, even the legs are off, the tripod head is level. So every time you make an adjustment, you need to do that. To take off the plate, on the right-hand side, there's a knob that you loosen and then you push in the red button and it will slide out. And then we want to mount this to the bottom of the red camera. If you look, I still can't believe not everyone's sitting. In the bottom of the red, you can see that there's a plate. This plate is attached to the red and it's designed to hold the rails. But we mount the plate to this. It has 2 1/4-inch mounting screws. That you simply screw on. And then what is something that every cinematographer should have in his or her pocket? Why a quarter?
To seal.
I have 2 just in case I lose one. And it's the perfect thing to tighten the screws. If you use a flathead screwdriver, it can be too tight and cause problems. But the quarter is kind of ideal for tightening those screws. Then to mount it, every tripod is a bit different, but for this one, it mounts well from the back, but you have to push in the red button and slide it in. When you get it centered on the tripod, the knob on the right is what tightens it. So now the camera's mounted and we're ready to go. Okay, let's first start with power. So we almost never use, we always use battery power. We don't use the AC power. If we do, we were going to plug this in here. Here is the power source. And again, this is just a converter. You plug this into the wall, and this goes into the DC power port right here. But we use battery almost exclusively. When do we actually use this? When will I say, let's, power it up? Hot swap. Yeah. So when the camera's running and we have jammed audio, time code, and all of that, we need to make sure that the camera stays on. But if you pull the battery off, now you've lost the power. So what we do is a hot swap. We plug in DC power, so that's now getting power through a stinger, and then we can take the power off, the battery off, and put a new one on, and then take the DC out, and the camera's powered the entire time, and it never shuts down. So we'll do hot swaps. But first, what type of batteries do we use? Nobody knows? Been shooting for weeks and no one's got an idea?
B3s.
So if any of you had said this, I would have been happy.
Oh.
The brand is Anton Bauer. It's the best battery for professional camera making, but you don't really call it an Anton Bauer, the brain. It's called by this. Does anyone remember now? Marty, do you remember? Yeah. Gold mounts. Gold mounts are the 3 gold pins, and if you can see those there, you can see there's a converter that has that allows the battery to plug right in, and there are 3 pins, and if you look at them, there's one here and then on the sides here, and if you simply click it over, it's locked. To release it, there's a handle right here, and if you push down on that, the battery comes right off. So again, click in and you're good to go. Now, the nice thing about the Anton Bauers is that they have DTAP battery inputs. So there's one on the top of the plate, and then there's a couple on the batteries themselves. So you can power other devices. Now, what are some other devices would I want to get power from the camera? Now, audio is usually completely separate. The F8 will send phantom power to the microphones. That has nothing to do with the video.
I forgot the name of it. The.
No, the Slate is powered by AA batteries.
Oh, okay.
So it's not powered. But there are other things that we've done on set so far. No one remembers? Okay, so one of the things, we're not gonna set it up today, but oftentimes the camera operator is standing by the camera. But where were you on Friday?
Who's behind the little screen?
Yeah, now how did you get a signal from the camera to the little screen? So we have wireless video systems that attach to the camera that send a signal to the monitor. So if any of you remember when we shot at my house,
Last week we used the.
it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but yeah, 2 weeks ago was the.
Last week we used the HDMI, but and that's just a port on the camera. You can see in the back of the camera, there are ports here. One of them is a SDI and an HDMI cables, so they can go out to monitors. But if the monitor is a long ways away, or the camera is mounted to a Steadicam or a jib or a dolly or something and it's moving, we don't want to have to worry about long HDMI cables. We mount a wireless system that will, the HDMI or SDI will plug into it. It will send a signal wirelessly to a receiver that plugs into a monitor. And so we get the signal no matter what the camera is doing. But that is all needs power. That's so they plug into the DTAPs. And so next time we set that up, we'll show you, because we're not going to do it today. But this
I had
can
a
power
question.
other devices in addition to the camera. Anyone remember the other thing that we often power in addition to the wireless video signal? We done it yet this semester?
No, we haven't done this.
Okay, so that you're all forgiven.
Yeah,
What?
Daniel should know.
Daniel should know because he was here last semester. We did it several times.
Marty should know. We used it on Sophie's shoot.
Okay, so let's assume the camera's on a Steadicam and it's floating out there. And I'm doing things like I'm going in on you and I'm coming back and I'm panning to see something over here and then I'm moving around. What's gonna be the problem? What's the problem with those shots?
Yeah. Don't you have something on wheels?
Well, okay. Let's say the camera's on a dolly. And this is a really intense scene, you're about to cry, and I'm dollying in tight to you. What's changing as the camera's moving? I mean, the cameras, they do have zoom lenses.
The focus.
Right, exactly. So if the
yeah,
camera's
zoom.
here, it's got one focal distance. If you move the camera right here,
Change the
it's,
focus.
yeah, so if the camera is on a place where the director, I mean, the director of photography, the DP can't pull focus,
Oh,
now you have a remote follow focus. So essentially, there is a motor, and we have 3 motors, because you can do aperture, zoom, and focus, and there are motors that attach to the rails that
oh, right.
lock on to the lenses, and then remotely
You can-
you can
Do the-
control those things. We only really do focus partly because we don't use zoom lenses in filmmaking, that's more like television. And then the aperture, we can do it, we tend not to do it. But if you are, for example, outside in bright light and you walk in a door into a much darker house, if it's exposed correctly outdoors, when you walk inside, everything's gonna be black. Or if you expose for indoors and everything's, darker and you make things look good, you walk outside and everything's white. So at times you need to change the exposure mid-shot. Oftentimes we cut around it, so we shoot it with that one exposure inside and then go outside and you change the exposure and ND filters and everything else. But if you're doing it in one shot, you have to change the aperture on the fly.
So it would mount here and you're able to change it while you're moving.
Yeah,
say.
in fact, let's do this now. We're talking about power, so we were talking about these remote follow focus. But we can do these. These are called the rails. Can you see that, Jason?
Yep.
These click on.
I had a question.
Yeah,
What generation red camera is that? What type is it?
Red Dragon.
yeah, but it's Wisterium X, I think. I've changed so many times. Yeah, I can't remember which one this is. I think this is, I'll have to look that up for you because I can't remember. I've had it for a couple years. Every few years I trade in my red and get a new one. And I actually don't necessarily trade the camera. I had a Scarlett and then I got upgraded to a different one. This is no longer the Scarlett, which I gotta look that up. I'll let you know. This is my 7th red. I like it better than others. Anyways, back to pulling focus. So you can pull focus by adjusting the focus ring on the lens, but holding your arm around is a lot more difficult than if you put this focus ring on the side and then you mount it. Now, much easier, I can pull focus from the side. What's also nice about this is that this is basically like a dry erase. So I can, if right now I want to put you in focus, I can mark here, and then suddenly I want to make sure that Geronimo's in focus, I can put the mark there. So I know I'm going to go from here to here to go for the 2 different ranges. There's also stops on here so that you can mark them. So you can only go to a certain distance.
Oh, because it'll stop you.
Right. So we will often use this to pull focus just because it's more accurate, it's easier. And the lenses are really built for that. If you look at the teeth on them for focus and aperture, they're designed to be pulled from the side.
So with the focus, I've always seen this and I always like the guy on the remote, is he looking at like a foot measurement or like a distance, or like how can he tell? Does he have like a diagram that he can tell when it's in focus?
Yeah, so they used to measure everything. They would have a pin on the rails just below the front of the glass on the lens, and they would pull the measuring tape and measure all the marks. And they do have distances on the focus ring. So you get kind of an idea by looking at the distances on the ring. However, what they really do now is they use what they call edging. And I'll show you because the red does that. But also the camera I'm sorry, the monitor that we use for pulling focus has edging, and it shows you exactly when things are in focus. And it really assists with that. And I don't know how to explain it better than just maybe showing.
Yeah,
So let me show you on the monitor on the red. Just know that the monitor that we use for pulling focus has a few different options for the focus puller. And the person pulling focus needs to see the action, because you need to know that if they're walking towards the camera, you're going one direction and going away another. They also need to have the focus monitor in front of them so that they can always make sure that the subjects are in focus. That makes sense, Jason?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anything other than before I power up? Okay, so here's the power button on the side. This essentially, the red is a computer with a bunch of accessories. So we're just going to power it on, and you hold the red button for just a couple of seconds. You can hear the fan went on, and in a couple more seconds, you'll see there'll be the monitor itself will light up. And I can't see it now, so you tell me when you see something on the monitor.
Yep. Think that.
Okay. So let's talk about a few different things. Oh, it's initializing still. It is a computer, so it takes time to boot and get ready. I think we have our image now. Okay, can you do this in a way that it, can you see the monitor?
yeah, I can.
Okay, so it's a touch screen monitor, so you can get to just about everything through this. Let's go through this a little bit. In the top left-hand corner, it tells you the frame rate. So we're shooting at 2398. What does 2398 mean? Anybody?
Does it have anything to do with the brains?
So traditional film shoots at 24 frames per second. It's the reason why it's 2398 is because it's a little under that, and so the computer, the camera shoots at a rate so that it matches, it syncs exactly. That's what it is. You can change the frame rates to 30 frames per second is used to be television. You can shoot at 60 frames, or you can increase that. What happens if you shoot at a higher frame rate? If I'm shooting at, say, 300 frames per second, what does that do to the image?
Would it blur it?
Has nothing to do with the quality. It's how fast.
The shutter.
Yeah, when you play it back at 24 frames per second, and I shot at, say, 300 frames per second, what happens? It's slow motion. So
Oh,
this
right, of course.
this can shoot at 4K, can shoot at 600 frames per second. I can film a hummingbird flapping and its wings look like this super slow motion. So it's great if your camera can shoot at higher frame rates, because then when it's slowed down, it looks like slow motion. And we often will do that for storytelling, action, or dramatic moment. We'll film at a different frame rate.
And that's because, say, you shot so many frames, but then when you put it at 2398, you're slowing it down. right?
Right,
So
well,
you shot
you're,
at a faster
if you,
speed,
if you shot at a faster speed and you play it,
back at a slower speed,
yeah,
then you're gonna get the slow motion.
yeah, and you can do the opposite too. You can
Speed it
speed
up.
things up. A lot of times you do that in post, but, anyways, so frame rate changes. The 24 frames per second as opposed to 30 frames per second gives there a little bit of a flicker look, which makes it look like film. So if you shoot at 30 frames per second, it starts to look a lot like television, like like if you think of
The old television?
yeah, like soap operas during the day, they
Yeah.
have kind of a distinctive look. Shot with camera television or television cameras as opposed to cameras that are simulating film. So, anyways, that's frame rate. The second one is ISO, and so right now I'm gonna show you this image here. For me, I think that it's a little dark, and so I can change the f-stop. I have it at 2.1 here. I could lower it to say 8 here. This is actually opening and closing the aperture on the lens. And if you look inside the lens, when I change the aperture, you can see it opening and closing. If you open it to 2.1, I have it all the way open to let all the light in. If I want to close it to this one's 2.1 to 22, the image I'm looking at now is just black because it's so closed with not a lot of light. But let's say I have it open, let's say I want it at 5.5. And if you look at it, to me, that might seem a little dark. Well, you can digitally control the light by changing the ISO. So if I want to go lower, I can make it darker, but I can also raise the ISO to say 1280. And now that might be the look I'm after. I like to keep the ISO somewhere between 400 and 1200. I don't want to go that much off of that because all of the ISO on red can be changed in post. Only the aperture can't. So I want to make sure I get the aperture I want from the lens first and then tweak it a little bit with the ISO afterwards. So
How the aperture affects the focus.
yeah, so I'm trying to see. Daniel, will you stand over here? Yeah, right in front of, come closer. So. Oh, by the way, can you see the monitor here? I need to move it. Can you see it if I?
Yeah. we're good.
Okay. So. I think Daniel's a little soft here. What does soft mean? He can't, no one, anyone can beat him up. No, soft means that he's slightly out of focus. And I can check that by going to, this is what I was talking about before, Jason, is edging. So I didn't just put the lens cap on. I put this feature on, which now allows me to check to see it focus. Now, what I want to see, more important than anything, is his eyes. So his eyes look and focus there. So now I believe he's in focus. And the other thing I can do, that the bottom button is the edging, the top button is magnify. So I can magnify, so I don't have a zoom lens. So if you had a camera where you have a zoom lens, you can zoom all the way in, get it really close, and I can see whether he's in focus or not. So, and I can do a combination of the two. I can magnify and do edging, and now I can get it just exactly right. And he's moving so much. He's a bad actor because he keeps.
Did you do it?
So there, I think he looks in focus, so I can take the magnify off, I can take the zoom off, and I know that he's perfectly in focus. Now, when we change the aperture, when you are more towards the middle, you have a deeper focus. If I open it all the way up or close it a lot, my depth of focus shallows. So if you like the idea of looking at just Daniel, his face in focus, but the painting behind him being blurry, or you know, if there's an OTS shot and the person's head and shoulders are blurry and yet his face is in focus, you want to change your f-stop for lighting, and not and adjust your lighting so your f-stop is on the outer ranges. So we'll talk more about that when we get to lenses, but let's go back to the menu on top. This one is your shutter speed. The rule of thumb is that you double the frame rate. So 1/48 is ideal for the 24 frames per second. The next one is 5700K. That's the color. And the nice thing about Red, almost all other cameras, the color that you film is what you have, and you can only adjust from there. So they talk about white balancing. Have you heard that term before? Marty, what is white balancing? So what you want to do is have whatever in the frame that is white look truly white, and then you know that you're actually capturing the color. But Red captures everything, and I can change it all later. So you don't need to white balance in Red. But sometimes people like to see the color a certain way as they're filming it. So I can change the color. You can see how I'm making it clear. If I make it 3200, for example, that would be as if it was shot outside in sunlight. If I wanted to go to more indoor, I can go to 56K, and that's incandescent lights. But it doesn't matter on Red like it does other cameras, because in post, you have full control of all the color. The next thing on this is, when you click on any of these, they open up. This is the resolution and also the frame size. So I'm right now in 6K widescreen, but I can do just standard 6K. I can do 2:1. I can do 5K, 4K, with all the different. I can even go 2K. But let's go to 2K right now, or let's just go to 2K widescreen. So right now we're looking at 6K widescreen. When I change it to 2K widescreen, it's almost like I've zoomed in on it. Because before I'm capturing this much larger area of image, and now essentially the 2K is only a small fraction of that. So you've got a much more control of your lenses if you shoot in 6K versus 2K. So I can't think of a time when I would ever shoot on the Red and not shoot in at least 4K. But if I did, I would do there. Okay, the one on the second from the right is the compression ratio. So Red, they have this mastered better than any other camera. You can compress your Red files a lot. You can shoot at 1:12 or 1:20, and it makes much smaller files. Or you can do a 1:1, or I shoot, when we shoot films, we usually shoot at a 8:1 or 6:1, which is very common. And the image is amazing. But if we start shooting with less compression, the files can be, I mean, 10 minutes can be a terabyte. And so a day could be, 20 or 30 terabytes for just the video. So 8 or 6 to 1 works really well for us. The last menu button is actually menu, and there's a whole different things. There's image, monitoring, overlays, power. For example, to power off, we go to power and then shut down instead of hitting the button on the side. But there are a lot of things. The thing that I frequently go to here is if you go to media, device, this tells you that the media card, which is the red mag, which is on the side, if I want to format it. So if I go to, format media, I can change the number on there. So I'm going to go A1 when I format it. When I do, it's going to erase 28 clips. Now, for the sake of my sanity, what will you always do before you ever format a card?
Ask you if you formatted.
This is my camera. I'm the video wrangler on every single project. And I never want to lose another project again, because it has happened. I've had students turn it on, format the card, and say, oh, by the way, Grant, I formatted the card. Well, what? So can you imagine if someone just erased your project? That whole day we spent filming all your work, all your everything, just gone. So, don't do that. But I'm going to cancel this. And let's cancel this entirely. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can click on that button and it takes you to the video files, things that are on the card. So if you go to this, it will show you all the cards. So let's just pick one of them, see what's on the red camera, the red mag. If I double click on it, it opens. And I can hit play and we can see Jordy puffing away. And here's what we shot last Friday. So you can, at any point during a scene, you can look back at and see what you've shot. It's all there. So right now we might say, hey, Zoe, you're standing right in front of the camera, you're blowing the shot. So we can look at it. And this is really important to be able to look at your file. This is what they can't do with film. If you shoot on film, you can't go back and look at what you've shot. You just have to kind of guess. But here we can, in the first film we shot, Jason's film, he wanted to match scenes. So we shot the sunset scene and he placed the sun in a particular part of the frame. Well, then he wanted to match that with the kitchen scene when Cameron was making scrambled eggs, and he wanted the egg yolk to match up with the sunset. And so he could then look at and see exactly where the sun was on that frame, and then he could frame the shot with the egg yolk so it matched perfectly. And then they had a shot where they're hugging in one scene, and then he suddenly had them in bed. So he could do it in a way so that they, now they're laying down, but the frame looks essentially the same. So he was able to match frames, so we have an interesting transitions. And this allows you to look at what has been shot. So there it is. I'm gonna stop. By the way, if you touch it, I'm watching the whole image. If I touch the screen again, it has all the controls. So I'm going to pause it. And I'm actually going to get out of the clips. So I push this button again, and now we're back on what we're seeing from the lens. So we're looking at Daniel getting soft and hard. That's how that's weird. In focus and out of focus from all of his pacing. Hey, there's Tim. Okay, this is our histogram. It records blues, greens, and reds, and it tells you the levels. Right now they look really good. So it's the amount of light, the amount of blue, green, and red light coming into the camera. Now, if I close the lens, I close the aperture, and you can see it gets dark. You can see how all of they call it crunched, squished to the left. And if I open up you can see how they get moved over. And that's what you want is a wider, so that we get. Is it going okay? Any questions?
Yeah, I was just looking.
So, this here tells us the amount of space on the, Red Mag, our, video, media card. This is the percentage of the battery that we have left. And even though it's not moving much, there is an audio meter. This does have, audio for scratch track, which I think is incredibly helpful when you go to sync. You can see that it is.
Oh, it records audio.
It does record audio, not audio you'd ever use, but it's good for syncing audio from the F8 or some other source. So that's pretty much everything on the menu. Remember, the top button is magnifying, the bottom button is edging for helping you focus. Jason, what am I forgetting?
Yeah, think of
On this here, on the port area, this top one is sync. What do we plug? What do we use the sync for? The slate. Yeah. So remember the F8, the audio recorder, which we learned about last week, generates time code. It goes into the slate. We jam it, and then we plug that cable from the slate into the sync button on the red. And the nice thing about this is the second it goes in, it automatically syncs. So that's what that's for. We have the SDI out, the HDMI out, and then this is our DC power. So, Tim, can you think of anything I'm forgetting or should talk about with the red? Yeah.
Oh, no, I was just waiting.
Oh. Say home, say hi to everyone at home. Let's do a couple things. First of all, I want to make sure that you all can get people in focus. So Tim is going to be our subject. So I want you to frame this and focus the shot. Striking. One by one.
Do you want them to?
Yeah,
frame it?
don't let everybody jump up.
Marty's,
Who wants
or
to touch the
anyone who
camera
wants to go
first?
first.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
chance to touch a red.
Okay, first you have to do is balance it. Then I want you to frame it and focus it. So tell me what you're doing as you're doing it, Ashton.
I'm stabilizing it, or balancing it.
Yeah.
I wish you guys like, and then frame. And then
Where do you want?
we want him in the eye level, right?
Is that good framing?
Yeah. Think.
Who thinks that Ashton has done a good job framing? Come look at the image.
Talked about the thirds grant today, I'm assuming.
We have a couple times. So is that good framing?
I don't think so.
No.
So what must he
I
do?
think he needs to frame the head, like make it more in the center.
Okay.
No, you don't touch the tripod. You're now wanting to tilt down. Well, no, that's not.
Tilt, you don't have to touch that part.
Then,
There you go.
Yeah.
The locks on
Oh,
the
right.
tripod head.
Right here.
oh, right.
So hold the camera when you release it. And that allows you to tilt. Okay. And you have it locked, stop it. Okay. Do you think that this is good framing?
No.
No. Why? He's right smack in the middle. Yeah, we always want a subject,
Yeah.
a person, the eyes are the most important thing. So we want the eyes in the upper third.
Oh, okay.
So meaning you have to tilt, I mean, a bunch of space up here,
Yeah.
none of that's important.
Oh, so the top, she has to go up. Oh, there you go, up
Yeah.
a third.
Okay, we also want to keep them centering something tends not to be, unless it's an interview or something, we tend to put them on the left or right third.
Even for interviews, unless like. Our subjects don't tend to be directly in the center unless I'm like looking into the lens. If I'm talking to Grant, like here's my angle, I'm talking to Grant here. I'm not looking at the camera, I'm slightly off axis, right? So we need to frame me so that I have what's called nose room. Basically. Where I'm on the frame, there should be a sense of direction in the way that I'm pointing, right? Like you wouldn't I'm assuming I'm on camera. Sorry, I have to do the backwards math in my head. I'm on the left side of the camera looking right, right?
Yep.
Now frame me so that I'm on the right, still looking, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now look at the difference. There's gonna be a ton of negative space back here. And I don't have any nose room, so I'm like looking off axis and really making everything over here just nothing, like
Mhm.
the absence. Now. There's some shows that do that on purpose to make your audience feel weird, a case of unease, but for the most part, this is bad framing.
Robot,
Mr. Robot.
Mr.
yeah.
Robot.
Yeah, they
does that.
intentionally would frame the people so it seemed like they weren't talking to each other.
Okay, so frame it correctly. Okay.
Yep.
You can see the grid. I would probably pan slightly to the left. Yeah, so that to me seems like good framing. Now, I'm still not happy with that shot. What must you do?
Edge.
Yeah, so it seems very out of focus to me. So,
Be nice.
Wait, which one is it?
Better to be out of
Sorry, I came
focus of
late,
this
so that's
space.
why I'm,
the front one is the focus.
wait, I use this.
Yes,
Your follow focus.
okay. And then if you want to do a combination of magnify and edging, that's probably the best. So, one's the top button,
Oh, okay.
is if you hit the top button, it will magnify and you'll suddenly see that he's
Needs to share.
yeah. So when you're get it there now, use edging. Now you know that he's really the focus. You take them both off and then you reframe.
Do I press it again?
Mhm. Okay, so that's looking much better. However, I still don't like this shot. We know it's in focus. We like the framing, but there's still a problem with it. What do you think it is?
I would zoom in a little.
Yeah, zoom in.
Well, this is not a zoom lens. So this is, if the director said, I want a wide shot of Tim, we can then truck the camera forward to get a more of a close-up, but or change our lens. We have a 35, we could put on a 50 or an 85 to get that if the tripod needed to stay where it was. But if I want the 35 from this distance, and I'm happy with the framing, what else is the problem with this? Yeah. Tim, the friendly ghost. So if you were going to do something with the camera because you think it's overexposed, what can you do?
Change the ISO or aperture.
Yeah, so let's change the aperture first. It's at 2.1 right now.
How do I change it again?
It's on the lens, it's the front ring.
This.
No, that's the focus ring. Yes.
Okay.
Can you see? You got to be able to see it. You don't just start
Yeah.
spinning it.
Yeah, I see it right here.
Okay, so let's go to 4 and let's see what 4 looks like. So to me, it looks way better.
Yeah.
I think I might even go to 5.6, make it 5.6. Yeah, maybe I would make it 5. So I think to me, that looks best. So you've taken a very crappy shot and with a few adjustments,
Mhm.
made them look a lot better. Okay, so you're done. Someone else is gonna go now.
Okay. Insane. Oh, this is better.
You always hold the camera with the handle. Well, when you.
Right
listen.
here?
Yep. See the bubble?
Oh, yes. I can see that.
Other way, other way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's frame him.
Okay. So let's see. Oh,
You want his eyes on the,
on the line?
yeah, and, but you're still having him centered. You want to move him. And he's now turned the other direction, so I think he's trying to make
You
you,
can make it difficult.
yeah, so if that's the way, you probably want to pan left. That's right,
Oh,
and left, keep going. Now you've got too far. See the cross? That's where you want his eyes.
oh, I want him on the cross right
Yep.
there? Oh, I see.
So that looks good. Now let's actually check the exposure first. How does that look to you?
Okay,
Yeah, it's a little dark to me.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
go to,
dark.
go to the f-stop. On the lens, and let's open it up to
It's the one closest to you.
closest to you.
oh, this one here, yeah.
And let's pull it to 3. Let's see how 3 looks. Yeah, see that, to me, that looks better.
Yes.
Okay, now let's check focus.
Okay.
So the first thing you want to do is magnify. Top button.
Button.
And then you're going to just push it when it takes a second. Then you're going to frame it so that you can see his eyes. And then use magnify, which is the bottom button. And it's not in focus, not even close.
Mhm.
So you need to turn the focus ring until you can see his eyes. And I think you need to tilt up because right now his eyes are out of frame. Did you loosen it? So it's no.
Okay.
Okay, so what's in focus is those buttons way behind him. So
Button, who's got the button?
Don't I want this cross between his eyes? Like
yeah,
that?
roughly.
Yeah.
We just want us to be able to see his eyes. Now, use the focus ring to get his eyes in focus.
Whoa.
There,
Oh,
get
there-
better. There you go.
Wow, this is really, that was better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would take off edging and magnify. And what's going to happen? You're going to need to reframe him. Keep going. You have him in the middle. Yep, maybe too far. Yep.
Like that?
No, his eyes should be on that line. There you go. Lock it, and then you want to pan to the left so that he's on the right third. Yep. Maybe a little too far, but that,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, right there. That's where I would put him. And to me, that looks really good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow, that is not easy.
this is what Jason's doing 80 times a day.
No.
It takes some muscle memory. It's one of those things you just have to do it. And
Yeah.
like watching you use the tripod,
And I forgot.
having used the iTrop years and years, it's like, oh yeah, it's natural. Just here's the tilting lock. It feels like it should be there.
And that thing is heavy.
Yeah, for sure.
Light.
Oh, wait until I use the steady cam. Oh, well, you gotta lift it up there.
There we go. But it's like remembering the steps, right?
It's just kind of getting it close. The first thing you got to do is get focus.
I think.
You should be able to get focus with me moving and breathing and stuff.
Yeah, this is always first.
Jason, you recording on purpose?
Are we recording on purpose, Grant?
No, it should
Okay.
just be, you're not recording the camera, right?
It was,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I just must have hit it by accident then.
Just
I have BTS.
Yeah, I was gonna get it today.
All right, so already he's adjusting the aperture. And he's framed it and he's adjusted the lighting and focus, everything looks good. Anyone else want to try it? No?
I would if I was there.
We touch the camera.
You can do it?
You're our
5 seconds, you're. Go in the camera. You're in the class, my touch the camera, I touch it again.
He's like, no.
This is the most ideal situation.
Once you touch it, then it takes the fear out of touching it.
Whatever, you don't have to touch it if you don't want to.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
You going?
You know you want to. Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
It's heavy. For me, it's heavy.
Yeah, it is. It has to be because the camera is heavy. This tripods need to be heavy. Different tripods are rated for different cameras as well, so, if you use a smaller tripod for a heavier camera, it's not gonna be able to maintain the weight. So
Right.
Always something to think
The
about.
whole thing has to be heavy.
Okay, so now the camera's in balance. Now let's put him in frame so we can. So to me, that seems dark, so let's adjust the aperture to. This is the one closest.
Yep.
For this type of shot, I think pretty close to a 3 looks good. What do you think, Jason? What are you looking at? Well, I'm looking at his face.
I could see it, they're all laughing, they're all like, it's looking at myself, kind of red-handed, obviously.
Okay, let's check focus. Edging and bottom one's edging, and I would also put on. Let's first use the edging, get him close. Use the focus ring to get him close, so he's, right now he's completely dark, okay, now something coming focus. Now you can put on the magnify, which is the top button. And this is going to zoom way in, now I will get it right on his face, so we can see, because it's his eyes that we care about.
Should be.
Yeah. Now you can take off both magnify and edging. And then you want to reframe it. Yeah, looking good. So, your turn.
So I wrote down all the steps. It helps me to see the steps.
For sure, yeah.
You know?
Again, it's a thing that you'll do it, if you become a camera person, you'll do all this stuff.
And it seems like
Multiple
you
times.
do it all in
Over
that
and
order,
over.
like balance,
Yeah.
frame.
Jason, on
the
average.
shots
yeah.
out.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense if you have to.
That's a
Well,
machine.
you'll be confused otherwise
Like,
if you don't do it in
it's
steps.
one
you know?
step.
You want your
per
image
shot,
to be
right?
leveled.
And
Oh, really?
yeah, it depends if we have to.
How many
move it.
times-
Nothing there, looking at this bubble.
Hopefully
Cupid Zero.
once.
Hopefully one. How many times you have to set it up, Cupid Zero?
There's 12 shots.
So it's 12 times?
There's 14 shots actually take that.
Yeah, so 14 times. I know, but I'm curious.
Adjustments? We
Yeah.
have to make
But
adjustments.
like steps, like.
Probably
how
close
many
to
times
30. It depends on.
There was 3 and then you had to move it left and right.
Oh,
Like,
right.
3 more times, so I say like
No.
7 or 6.
Well, maybe I forget a step.
Rope-
I have to check just before. That's why it takes sometimes
Yeah,
a bit.
that's where.
Uh-huh.
That's why I'm like, I get quiet and I'm sitting there adjusting. and looking at the monitor.
Because you still have to get focus. So now we want to put on edging
It
first.
just depends.
Was it you or was it Sam? Somebody filmed it, Rokas.
It's
No, no,
probably
no, no. Yeah, it's.
20,
this is
30
the-
times, and
So.
That's your focus.
When he
Well,
starts to
hopefully,
light up, you know, you're way up now.
Sure.
Now what you wanna do is put the top one on, that's magnified.
That,
Now
what,
you wanna
what mic,
reframe it so
are they
his
hearing that
face
mic?
is
Yeah.
right in. And you can see that he's not quite in focus, you see his beard, his hair.
Yeah, it's.
There we go. That's it right there. Now you turn both those off. We want to no, it's focused. Now we want to reframe it. So you loosen that one knob, tilt. There, that looks good. Yeah. Now, what do you think about the lighting?
That was a funny video. Chris at Timoteo.
Let's look.
Sounded
So
better.
you remember it's the f-stop that changes, so it's that first ring. And right now it's at 3, let's make it go, let's open it up a little bit. Let's go in the opposite direction. That's opening it, to me, that's overexposed. Yeah, so I'll keep going down. To me, that looks better. So you're now at almost 4. You have balanced the tripod, you have framed him, you focused him, and you made sure that the light looks good for the camera. All the things that you've done right now to make a shot
I
better.
downloaded the Vimeo one.
Right?
Yeah,
Studio Finder.
Studio Binder. Yeah, look at that website. So helpful.
Just type in studio. Auto.
Oh, I was like, Craig, you're really gonna like.
Right
Okay.
upside down.
Cinnamon Guild.
Disassembly.
Yep.
Oh,
All right, set it up.
Campus, right?
Where's the, okay,
I'll have a DVD player.
is it, it's not-
You wanna hold
Did you have to go? test
here,
it?
yeah.
I wanna watch it, but it's right there in my class. I don't have a DVD player.
So stressful. Stressful.
How do you watch the movie?
Streaming.
Do anything wrong.
On your machine?
I don't have any DVD.
Okay, for doing focus, him being in the middle is
Had like
okay.
a weird.
Yeah.
So, first thing you wanna do is put on edging, the bottom button.
I have like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have-
I have like.
See, he's completely out of focus, so,
Yeah.
you wanna focus until you can start to see him
Brought them in and gave them the boards.
sitting there.
And we run a challenge.
And then I have like.
Close, now let's do the magnify, which is the top button.
For everyone, you get all of them.
And now you want, and so he's in the middle, and now you wanna do it so his eyes light up.
So I have like, I have.
All of them in there, yeah.
Hopefully it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, that looks good. Now you can take them both off.
Then they realized consult twice, right?
And now you wanna frame it,
No, they stopped.
All right.
and he is looking that direction. So he's talking.
Should really stop
Probably
making
put it in
physical
there, right?
copies.
Yeah.
There's
But
some
also-
movies
no, no,
that
no,
are
you don't
meant
adjust
to be
that.
done
You also wanna
right.
tilt down
Where do I,
the,
oh, right there, oh, okay.
The movie sounded good. I read that even thought about. But I'd have to skip
Okay,
back. five.
so it's in focus, it's balanced, and it's framed well. How's the lighting?
Yeah, 2 to
what's-
4. Trust me. I was.
I mean, it
I
could
was
be
like,
a
oh, it's gonna
dark
go
lighting,
to
right?
it, then.
Yeah, he's totally washed out. That's a really bad look. That's because I turned this to max.
Mhm.
So if your director says, I want that as hot as it can go, you have to adjust in the camera. So let's start with f-stop. So we want,
Where was that one again?
that's the first ring.
We're doing the career fair.
So what?
Are we doing the career fair at the middle school?
No, no one's reached out to me, so. Which is good, because it's gotten a little dark to me.
Kind of like that?
Yeah, that looks
Okay.
pretty good. So that's at about 5.
Where did
So
it say that?
on the ring,
Oh, okay.
there they are. See the little arrow?
Yeah, that's at like 5.6.
To me, that looks best.
Okay.
So, that's good. So all of you been making adjustments. You want a really hard one?
Give Jason the impossible one.
Well, you're gonna be my DP, right? You're gonna be my DP.
You're gonna make me, walk the camera and walk this way.
I want a lens swap. I want a,
Oh.
I want an 85. So all of you should be watching Marty because she's doing something that none of you else have done.
So we are lens swap, okay.
Don't we need two people for this?
Yes.
Marty,
So-
are you?
March 15th, Marty. It's a Friday.
Look down.
Oh, you can get my.
So,
What was it, 85?
85. And check because some people don't always put the right caps on. So, do we need to worry about the battery for this camera right now?
What percentage is that? Someone look.
Where's it at again? I forgot.
Oh, it's right there, I think. Battery.
Oh yeah, 65%.
When do we need to worry about it?
20?
Was that 35?
We never go to down to 20.
Okay, so,
It's an emergency if it gets to 30.
so
Yeah,
probably 50 then?
we need to pay attention at 50 and
Okay.
so when it starts getting under 40, we really start thinking, okay, wait, one last shot or let's prepare or whatever. So we're good for now.
Have you done lens swap?
Not from this end, I did that one. Okay. You want to switch?
Yeah, once you switch.
Good.
Hey,
You didn't say it, you just took it.
what do you do every time you do
Got it,
lenses?
got it.
You do not let go until he says.
Sorry, I
got it.
said good instead. I thought that was the phrase.
And forgetting.
I said the wrong phrase.
I only first did a lens swap with a red like 2 weeks ago. So.
No,
So-
that's here.
That's,
Should we This is the new part for me.
wait, I don't take mine off then, do I?
No.
Not yet, no. This is
You-
the new part for
You
me.
will be ready to take that off in a minute.
I've never done this ring
Okay.
thing before.
So you hold
You
it.
loosen
with
that
one-
first.
You gotta loosen this first.
No.
Wait,
Yeah.
This is the first one, right?
Or what you're saying is we should need to pull this away. So,
yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
so we can pull this away from.
Okay.
Loosen that ring.
And I want one hand on the ramp.
No, it doesn't. Fall out.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
center.
now is where you hold the lens and hit that and you're gonna turn counterclockwise. But you have to immediately be able to hand that to her so she can put it on and you're gonna swap.
Will you give me that thing?
Yep.
And then.
You're gonna
hold it
hand that.
so-
She's the one who does the lens swap.
So the red
Oh,
dot
yeah,
right here,
red,
have
red.
it up, ready
Yep.
to go in there.
Okay.
And then go. Gonna connect it through.
Wait. Okay, good.
No, it's not on there. You gotta twist. So it clicks. Now it's
Yep.
clicked. In the colander. That goes back in the case and then you take the lens cap off. And then the DP decides what he or she wants to do with it. We had a DP, Derek May, who. It's like he was a thief. Every single time he took a lens cap home, every shoot.
I've never done that.
I know. Okay, yeah. So this is the one that loosens it, so once it's loose, you can slide it. So that it locks in.
It's off.
Push it in a little bit.
If this is loose, you can move it front and back.
Oh.
Yep,
It's tight now, but
You gotta slide it in.
You just gotta slide in and you've gotta make sure that it's locked in.
Oh, it's flop.
I like to test it.
Mhm.
Good.
Moving a little bit.
Okay, now, you've done the lens swap. Let's see how you do with framing and focusing on Tim.
No pressure, you're only keeping him's film.
So what do you think? Everyone like this?
Yeah, I like it.
So you can see we did a lens swap, and so this, if this were the 35, to get the same shot, the camera would have to be right here. So we're able to back up because this is essentially zooming in. Oh man, the lens is bad. We need to clean it.
That I haven't. Here?
You start in here. That's it, that's it, yeah. First thing you want to do is go to the front. If you see any debris, which I don't know if I did, I just.
There is, there's dusties.
And if you can't blow it out, then we have special fabric and stuff to adjust, but.
I use toilet paper though, right?
No. There's a little,
No.
just a little
Yeah.
hair right there. That's not going away.
Yeah, good. So, anyways, the more you do this, the better you get at it, the faster you get at it, and, you can make adjustments. If Tim were to get up and walk, if I was filming Tim, hold on, let me get purpose for it. If I was filming Tim and I needed to do this, if he then stood up and I had to keep him in frame, and I would probably keep the edging on, and so that I'm in focus. If he took a step away or step towards me, I'm going to. So it's not an easy thing to do to keep things in focus, because just as I about to get there, he's moving. So these are things that we have to worry about. And the more practice you get, the better. I believe the hardest skill to learn on set is pulling focus. It takes a master to do it well. And we try to do a lot of things, like Jason said, measuring, marking, so that if the actors are hitting their marks, it's all prearranged. But when you get people who pace, or, do this type of thing, they're going in and out of focus the whole time, and people are having to pull focus in it.
Depending on your lens and your light level, that's your range of focuses could be extremely limited too, so
Yep,
But are you always focused on the eyes then?
usually.
yeah.
Pretty much, I mean,
There might be a shot where Tim pulls out the quarters in his pocket because he's a true DP, and we zoom in on the quarters. Well, now his eyes might not even be in frame, so
Right.
it's not always,
so as,
but if
It's on
Tim,
the subject, but like the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? Unless there's like, oh, there's an element where we're focusing on the mole on the person's face, because it's a story structure. It's like you want to see people's faces and their faces in focus for most part.
yep,
it must be difficult to film like live stage theater. right?
Well, the
We're-
farther the
is
camera
that
is
correct,
away from
camera?
a subject, the deeper you can, unless my actors are very stationary, I like to have a little bit of depth of field.
Mhm.
And I would arrange it so that the stage, everything on stage is in focus.
Right,
So that if they're in the foreground or the background, they're still good. But if you have a very shallow depth, you're gonna have to pull focus, or people will walk in and out of focus as they move around on set.
so like when they do tech and theater, say, so part of the tech night then is pulling some of like the lead roles and marking their focus, so are they marking then on the
For
like
theater,
rate-
they're-
dry erase?
I think with
In
theater,
certain scenes?
I think in theater, they're marking for lighting more so than
Oh.
anything, right? Or,
Oh, yeah, well, I mean,
whatever.
if it were to be filmed, yeah.
But for film, I mean, so for filming, we're capturing live, right? Like,
Mhm.
so we're, that's why we in filmmaking stage every single shot and
Right.
frame every single shot, right? And like, if we're capturing something live, we're not per se gonna necessarily use a red camera. We're gonna use
Right.
something more like
But
the Sony here that has an autofocus feature
Oh, there you
on
go.
there.
Okay,
In fact, we shoot the plays usually on our Sony, which is right here.
okay.
And then all the way in the back of the theater, we have a wide shot
That makes
with the
sense.
amount of light and that lens is a zoom lens.
Right.
So we can zoom in and get focus. It's
Yeah.
really hard to get out of focus with that one, so. I
That
could-
makes
So we're gonna do another lens swap. If you haven't done this, pay attention. So Daniel and I are gonna do this together. As if he's the DP. So, yeah, so I've gotten the lens for you. So he's protecting the lens by putting the lens cover on. He's then gonna release the follow focus. Pull it away, then he's going to release the colander or collar. Clockwise, you're going on wrong.
That can do see.
That's you.
You don't have to push the tab, that releases it. You
Oh.
just have to turn the,
Is it lefty?
All right.
okay, now you push that red button. You're gonna hold it up for me. And hold it, so it's on. Got it?
Got it.
Ah,
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
never put your. So that's glass that you never wanna touch.
Yeah.
guess, yeah. Okay.
So
Right.
you spray on that paper right there. You're putting your fingerprint on it.
Shit, my bad.
Like,
My bad. Okay, okay.
I mean, not that they would want to, but.
Show me, dude.
So you're gonna use,
Why am I
This,
concerned about?
and
this
so
being
you're
over?
gonna just spray it
That-
on.
Cause you don't want
Okay.
dust in the sensor.
Yeah, that can be a really problem. We normally,
Every single, and a particle of dust on
Okay.
your sensor,
So you're just
like
gonna-
make a area that just
Yes.
won't be out of focus, will be burned on every single thing. you shoot.
Like this?
Yes,
Same
Okay.
why we need
Okay.
the lenses.
so now dry it off,
Properly, you
use
get scratches on
the
the
edge.
lenses.
The edge.
It
Like that?
just will ruin the lens. They're
Okay.
always.
Yeah, you're good.
the red cap,
red cap.
or is he ready?
You
Are you
want
gonna
the-
be?
Yeah, he's ready now.
The sensor to be
Find the red dot?
exposed as little as possible, especially outside.
Now, once it's in, turn to the right till it clicks. Now to the column. Okay, good. We're good to go. Okay, let's, everyone come where you can see the screen. Okay, we can't see the image because the aperture is closed. Okay, I want to power down. So, in an emergency, you can push and hold that button, but if you push it just once, it starts to record. So what's the best way to shut down? Okay, go ahead, show me. Menu,
And then power,
okay,
and then shut down.
shut down, let's shut it down. And you basically are shutting, it's like a computer, you're shutting it down and it's good to go. Okay, once it's completely shut down. Lens cap on. Okay, I want you to put the gold mount back in the case. Right over there. Can you put the remote follow focus back in the case?
That's right.
That did not too much, just a little bit to loosen it. And then it should slide off, and then you can, yep, we're good. It's this case right here. Okay. I want you to take the camera off and we're gonna put it back in the case.
You always leave a lens on it?
Yeah. I leave the 35 because it's the one we use the most. Okay, there are two things that hold, there's a plate that's mounted to the
Oh,
tripod.
right.
So
So it
the
slides
the
out.
one on the right loosens it
Mhm.
here. And now it's the red button. You have to hold the red button and slide the camera backwards. And hold tight because you're getting backwards. Yep, and now you're holding the camera.
Oh, take it.
Yeah, so set it right in here, but wait, actually, before you do. I'm gonna spot you a quarter. Okay, I'll hold the camera. And,
Oh, hold forward. I usually do pennies. man.
yeah, but. I'm rich.
Wow.
No, once you loosen it, then that's it, then you just use your finger to pull, it screws all the way out. Yeah, just you with your finger, no, you have to unscrew it.
Oh, right.
There's both of them all the way out. And you want to do a little bit at a time, otherwise,
Yeah, they could.
which. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then that does not go in here. That goes back on the tripod. Up, that's upside down. And then what keeps it from falling out?
Screw it.
No.
Oh,
That's to release it. It's the opposite side.
oh, this
Yeah,
twist it.
now it's good. And when I store it, I like to keep this, so I loosen this. It can be down. Good to go. I think we're all done. Any questions at home, Amy or Jason? Nothing? Next time you guys come to set, I'm making you frame and set up the red camera, okay? All right, well, I'm gonna stop recording. Do we get to see either of you?